and Inga Turner, who's responsible for member relations at Lynx. So I'd like to pass the mic over just for each of you to maybe take a quick moment and just kind of talk about a little bit about your background, how you got into the industry, and maybe share any additional facts with the audience.
Hi, how are you? Well, my name is Elia Mares. I'm an Edge Strategy Manager for Facebook. I focus all my work for Latin America, from Mexico up to Tierra del Fuego in Argentina. I started my career in the telecom industry. It was not by choice. It was something that happened by chance. But as those things, I'm really passionate about interconnection. We work with so many small ISPs in the region that when we provide our solutions, when we open a pod, we put caches, they feel so grateful, not only because they are serving best performance to the users, it's also because they are cost saving, they can invest the money better. So sometimes we receive emails saying, wow, you really saved us this year, and that's the most amazing thing. So that's my background.
Hi, I'm Kayla Clifford. I also work for Facebook as a network delivery manager. So a little bit about my background. I kind of started in the telecom industry as well, as working for a smaller ISP for a cable company. I kind of just started working out as a data center technician and then just dove into whatever kind of projects they would give me. Eventually moved up into peering and BGP and started working with that and got involved with caching, and that's kind of what led me down the road to Facebook. So working with Facebook as a network delivery manager, we deal with a lot of capacity management. We deal with a lot of planning for our caches, making sure that the companies that we work with are utilizing our caches to the fullest. Also work along with Talia in the Latin American countries to kind of help with some of the smaller ISPs. And a little bit about me. Let's see. Oh, I love nature, love hiking, love being outside.
Hi, I'm Renee Law. I work for Oracle. I run all the cloud connectivity products that we have at Oracle. So if those of you are on the AWS or Azure side, it's connectivity to the internet. Essentially, you need connectivity to get to the cloud. So that's what my team does. I also own all the Fast Connect business development. So I work with all the carriers and the data center providers to provide interconnectivity at our locations. I've been in the industry a lot longer than I'd care to admit, probably about 25 years. I actually started, interestingly enough, as a telecom tech. I was just telling somebody today where I actually would walk around with a tool bag and punch down. We had 5 call centers. There was me and this other guy, and we'd run around, punch down, old copper wires, configure PBXs. If anyone, it's a phone system for those that don't know what that is today.
That was my first job.
Yeah, we had a call center. We had 5 call centers, and I kind of fell into the role. Right, I was more interested in configurations and being more techie than focusing on other areas, and that's how I kind of got into it and stayed with telecom ever since.
Hi, I'm Inga. I'm from Lynx, the London Internet Exchange. I'm very new to panel, so if I wander off track, please get me back on. I need a wine. I'm very, very new to the industry. I started by chance 4.5 years ago as an admin support, and was very fortunate to be offered a role in the member relations team. And I get to meet all you lovely people around the world. I'm from a customer service background. I'm nothing to do with telecoms, so I'm more on the commercial side, a bit like Rebecca. So I'm learning every day. I love it. It's great. And one thing I can say to you is that I'm middle-aged, and I thought I'd come to the end of my career after being made redundant twice, and I managed to get this fantastic job. And all I can say to you is that, don't think because you're middle-aged that your career is ended. You get to travel and meet all you lovely people.
I'm going to leave the mic with you guys there, and I'll just speak. We had talked as a group the other day, and we kind of two topics came up that we wanted to touch on today. One was diversity and inclusion, and the other one was Impostor Syndrome. So if we start out with diversity and inclusion, just a couple of comments here. Culture, diversity and inclusion issues go beyond gender. We are all different, not just one homogenous group. We have different expertise, different backgrounds, different relationships. Maybe Renee, since you have the mic, first question here that we came up with is, what can we do to take this beyond being a woman's issue and help drive awareness within our sphere of influence? I'm so pleased I passed that to you.
I think from what I've observed over the years, because I've you know, I guess it's just having an openness and awareness and accepting this. I mean, one thing, I'm in the middle of reading this book called Brave But Not Perfect, which kind of lends to this whole panel discussion, and just, you know, it's okay to think out of the box. It's okay to want to be on a board. And it's okay if you decide you want to be a stay-at-home mom. It's like whatever we choose. And being brave enough to be able to make that understanding, and that bravery, I think, applies to no matter what gender or what background you come from. But it's I think, if I'm going to relate this back to women, at least for me, that's a hard thing. I mean, I've been in the industry for 25 years, and I'm finally now kind of waking up and going, you know what? I'm not going to sit back and just like let it go anymore. This isn't right. It's not. It's how do we empower each other to get out there and support each other to be brave and not critical. I mean, we as women, we can be so judgmental of each other, right? I think we all know that. We can be BITCH, right? I've been there. But how do you not be that? How do you be comfortable with yourself and just like support each other? That's what we're here to do. Whether you're actually a woman or a man, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. It shouldn't, if we're talking about all inclusion. But unfortunately, people seem to have, you know, these they're out there and they judge, right? So how do you get past not judging, and how do you be brave enough to accept that, whether if I'm judging, like, oh shit, shouldn't be doing that, right? And going beyond that.
Anybody else want to comment?
I can comment on that. So what was the last part of the question?
Really, what can we do to take this beyond being a woman's issue and help drive awareness within our sphere of influence?
Well, I think we're already kind of starting it out by building community like this, because one thing that I really cherish is being able to come together with women and men who kind of have the same ideas as I do, and kind of empower each other to get out there and, you know, push yourself to that point. Like, if you want to go for that, you know, board position, go for it. If you want to join that club, if you want to, you know, be that person who leads the meeting, go for it. And you have that support system kind of behind you, pushing you to do that. And, you know, it may be kind of scary, but in a way you can also like relate to each other, like, oh, well, I did this one thing, you know, and it kind of helped me out. And you can give advice, you know, but like other people putting themselves out there gives them an experience that they can share with others in these kinds of communities to empower them to do the same. And I mean, I really think that, like, when it comes to inclusion, we really have something to, what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to the inclusion, we really have to kind of like bring each other together and empower each other in a sense of, like, you know, rallying behind each other, checking in on each other. If somebody's not feeling that great about an experience that they might have to go through, like leading a meeting or making a presentation, you know, check in on that person, make sure they're okay, give them feedback, like empower them to be, you know, out there, put themselves out there as a leader. And I think the more we do that kind of stuff, the better off we are. And the more, like, the easier it'll be for us to kind of lead these meetings and go for the positions that seem like they're, you know, at the top, things like that.
Great, thanks. And one comment just to add to that before we move on to the next question. Mm-hmm. Something we've talked about as a board of WTF is setting up an alliance, maybe 7 men, 7 women from across our industry, to come together and maybe come up with creative ideas on how we can try and solve this issue together. A lot of guys, even tonight, said, hey, can we come? And said, we will open this up and there will be opportunities to have more of a mix, to have a broader discussion. But for now, it's still early stages. This is our first NANOG event. So we want to kind of get the first of everything behind us, and then we look to grow and include others as we move forward, where it's appropriate.
I have one more comment.
Sure.
One comment, interestingly enough, you know, especially at the stage of my career, where I find very helpful is finding a mentor. I actually managed to catch up with my mentor today, and she's amazing. But I found a mentor that I can align to that is a most, you know, very strong woman. She's at Dell now, and she's doing a great job. And she's always gives me good feedback, and she's always going to tell me what's straight. So it's finding someone you can trust to be able to communicate with is another kind of piece of it.
Right, excellent. Maybe Inga, over to you. What can we do to help new women in our industry feel included, since you're relatively new to our industry?
I think groups like this are important, even though I probably this time last week would have said I never go to women in tech events. Why do we want to segregate ourselves? We want to be together with the men. Why we? If the men had a group like this, we'd all be imagining them with, I think, cigars, bowls, brandies, and. But then I got on the call with you lovely ladies, and I was sat in the room, and my husband was sat next to me, and we were listening to what you were saying, and I was like, this is important. This is something I do need to be involved in and take quite seriously, and maybe by me bringing my thought process to the table, maybe you can understand me a little bit, why I didn't want to come to the Women in Tech events at first, and I can understand why you guys are doing it, and that's what I'd like to say anyway.
Great. Thanks. Julia, anything to add, especially with your background in South America, maybe?
Yes, definitely. I started my career in Peru, and then I moved to the US. So I have been in different cultures, company cultures basically. Latin America is very male-centric. That doesn't mean that US is that much different, but culturally that adds a little bit more. But it was interesting because just this afternoon, we were talking with Roberta, and one of the things that I realized that having a mentor, and not only supports you, give you suggestions, but help you, giving you the space for your voice. You have an opinion. It's good that you are different. It's good that you are different, that you have a diverse opinion, because when everybody thinks the same, you will have the same exact outcome. So having that person to give you the space, to give you your voice, that's so important. And I have been so lucky to have that during my career. And I was telling Roberta, it doesn't matter if it's a man, if it's a woman, then it's they appreciate your value, how much you can bring to the table, and that's the important thing. I think that mentoring, and now at my stage, I have been in the industry for a long time. I have been trying to be more involved in mentoring. You have to put your time there, but I think that I encourage everybody, if you have the opportunity to mentor somebody, it doesn't matter if it's young, if it's in the industry or not, I think that that's a very important thing to do.
Great. Julia? So one of the other questions we had discussed the other day is, do you think we need systemic change to foster a culture of inclusion? Or should it be more organic? Anybody like to comment on that?
You kind of have to push for it, right? I mean, we can let it organically grow like we have been, but I think if we can have more folks that feel passionate about it, that can come together in forums like this or other forums, we do have to, change is provoked by folks coming together and coming up with solutions, because if we just kind of let it happen organically, it'll just be a ever slowing process. I mean, look at today. Look at where we're at today. I think there was an article I posted to WTF about the stats of how many, Nadia, I don't know, I can't remember the stat off the top of my head about how many women that were in CEO positions. I mean, it's ugly, right? It just doesn't look great it's what's wrong with this picture? We're just as competent, if not more, I would argue. And some of these men out there that just kind of shoot off their mouths like it's it's I think we have to kind of brainstorm how we can help, especially with inclusion at all levels, ages, men, women, everywhere, cultures.
Great. That leads us nicely into kind of the next topic that we talked about, which is it's well written about at the moment, Impostor Syndrome. We actually brought this up as one of our topics at ITW last year, and we thought it would be interesting to maybe get a fresh perspective. And I came across a wonderful quote that I read a couple of days ago, and it's from a woman who said, "I have written 11 books, but each time I think, oh, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out." And that was written by Maya Angelou. So if she's suffering from imposter syndrome, I think it's well recognized that there are probably many others who feel the same. So maybe, Inga, just to get your thoughts on this. What is your take on imposter syndrome? Is it real, and have you experienced it?
Well, I didn't know what it was till a week ago. And so I was asked somebody in the office, "What do you think imposter syndrome is? Do they steal your work, maybe?" And I was like, but then I read about it, and I spoke to Megan and spoke to a few of the people, and I thought, wow, I definitely have imposter syndrome. 4.5 years in the business, having no technical background, and I sometimes sit in the office and think to myself, they're going to know. They're going to know. One day they're not going to send me to NANOG. They're not. No. I'm just going to make the tea, and I'll be happy with that. And then and I even we have Links has a really good culture. We have one-to-ones and catch-ups, and we're mentored, we're looked after, and I still have that feeling. And nobody's at work has ever said, "Yes, you're going to be making the tea from now. We know you can't do this." It's just your own, how, is it your confidence? Is it, I'm really lucky I've got this brilliant job, and am I scared somebody's going to take it away from me? So it was really interesting to see that there is a lot of people that suffer from it, and I was quite liberated at the to think that it's not just me, it's not in my head. Yeah, so yes, I can really relate to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I didn't know about imposter syndrome like a term until Friday when we had a call. So during the weekend, during the weekend I was asking a lot of close friends, and then finally today I asked my colleagues, they're all male. So I asked them, "Hey, what do you think about this thing?" And my close colleague, he told me, "Oh yes, you definitely have that." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why you said that?" He says, I thank him his honesty. And I said, "Yeah, because we go to meetings all Latin America. We always travel together, well, most of the time." And he told me, "Well, because when you're in meetings, you're great. You don't have any confidence issue. You talk. All these ISPs they do whatever you say. But when you are at work, of course you double think yourself." And I noticed, I said, okay, well, thanks for the feedback. But actually, that's totally true. And I didn't realize until actually this weekend I started asking questions. And I think that is a combination of things. Maybe it's personality also, always doubting yourself and things. But at the end of the day, you have to be confident in what you do. You will make mistakes. I have done so many mistakes during my career. You have to learn, continue, push up, and that's it. But it was really interesting because this question was totally new for me. And it's so, it's so liberating. Now I know what my colleagues think about me and the imposter syndrome thing. So I want to share that.
I could definitely comment on imposter syndrome because, I think I experience it every day sometimes, especially when it comes to going into a big conference room full of people when you have to speak out about a project that you're working on or something that you disagree with. It gets a little intimidating sometimes where you think oh no, they're going to figure out I don't know what I'm doing. It's as soon as I speak up or speak my mind, they're going to realize that this is it and this is the moment. When I came from a small ISP, especially to Facebook, it was such a big change for me that I immediately started second guessing how I even, managed to get past the interview. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did someone trick them? What's going on here? Because I was nervous as all heck, but I think really they saw through the nervousness and they saw my skills. The problem was I wasn't seeing my skills. I had to realize that, hey, you actually belong here. And then even today, I still kind of think to myself, like, oh crap, they're gonna figure it out. Like, there's a meeting or there's the phrase or word I don't know that they're just gonna see, they're gonna hear, and they're gonna know, like, I don't know what I'm doing. But every time I continue to get compliments, I continue to, go above and beyond. I got a promotion like last week, and it hit me. It was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually really doing a good job, and I work for Facebook, so I think I'm okay. Like, I think I can finally relax.
So I'm here because of that. I can tell you I was in a unique position a couple years ago, and I remember sitting down with my boss at the time, and I'm like, why am I even here? I looked at him like, why did you guys even promote me to this as in a sales role? And I was like, why? And he looked at me and he got mad at me. He's like, what? Why would you even say that? I can't believe you even say that. And it comes down to, even when I was interviewing at Oracle, I'm like, that's why I got the job there after this crazy, 5-hour stint of being grilled, right? I'm like, wow, what value do I bring to the organization? So part of it's, and even having conversations with my boss today or the other day, I'm like, I don't know, what do I really contribute? Anyone could do what I do. I'm like, what's unique? And he's looking at me like, why do you even say that? So it's having that confidence, and I'm trying to figure out how to get to that point. But yeah, it's a real thing, and I think I feel it. It's constant, right?
So I guess the second part of that is, do you think it's gender specific? Oh no.
I don't know. I think men do it. They just don't. I don't know if they're not open about it, right?
There's women imposter syndrome and there's
men imposters. Men just kind of have more.
They would never admit to.
They would never admit to. They're more confident. I was going to use a different word, but they come across as a lot more confident. And I think us, we're kind of like, I'm going to wait till, if we get criticized. Like, I recently had an employee that found something out, and she was just, it was awfully, somebody else told her something, and it just destroyed her, sent something negative to her, and it's just really hard, and I'm trying to be there to give her support, no, you're great, you're awesome at what you do, don't let anyone say that. But it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody else, another female told her this, and I was like, really? I'm gonna strangle you. Why'd you tell her that? Because I know that this employee that I had, she needs a lot of extra feedback, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, you can't, I take criticism to heart, even if my husband's like, oh yeah, it's okay. I'm like, what do you mean my dinner wasn't okay? Or I freak out, and he's like, Jesus, what is wrong with you? I'm like, what? It's just, I don't know.
Are we on the gender?
Yes.
I was just listening. I'm like, wow. On a personal perspective with gender, I definitely know that it's not just for women. I have a family member who recently promoted, and he come home, and I don't know why they've promoted me. I don't know why. I haven't done anything. I'm not very good at this, and I thought about it as well. I thought, as a woman, we would probably be more than likely to go and speak to somebody. I don't feel confident. I don't know. I'm not very good at this, but I don't think men do that. I don't think men speak to other men, or maybe a woman say maybe, that I'm not very good at this. I don't, or might not actively seek feedback like maybe I would. So I definitely don't think it's gender, just for ladies. No, definitely men.
Right. Okay. Maybe Kayla, the question there. Any tips on how to deal with it? Anything that you've used?
Oh, well, definitely kind of just facing it, accepting it, and realizing that the people around you are experiencing the exact same thing. Some of them just aren't saying it. Some of them are, which is awesome when they do, so it's just like, oh yes, thank goodness. Okay, I'm not the only one. But you just kind of have to realize that we're all going to keep going through this. It's not going to go away over time. There's always going to be that moment where you kind of second guess yourself, because that's just kind of how life is. As you continue to grow and continue to challenge yourself, there's going to be weak points where you don't understand everything. You're never going to know everything about everything, basically. So you're going to have these moments where you feel insecure, and that's normal and completely natural. And, you know, it's okay to feel that way. Like, it's okay to be like, you know, things aren't going right, I feel insecure. And that's just it. Like, the sooner you kind of look into like, okay, well, how do I make myself feel better? How do I find a solution? Who can I talk to about this to, you know, help me kind of get out of this funk? The better off you are, but it's gonna happen. And, you know, helping other people kind of helps that as well. It's just like if you see somebody who, you know, is down on themselves because they got some negative feedback, you know, kind of like go over and talk to them and be like, hey, what's going on? You know, like, how can we help you kind of move past this? Whether it's like a skill that maybe they may be a little bit weak on, or maybe they're going through something personal at home. You know, just be that support system that they need, really.
Anything to add?
I think only be confident in yourself. You know, like everybody has their own process to get confidence. You know, it could be something very personal, but you know, think like what you are doing is the best that you can. You know, always ask feedback from your team. Actually, I was very impressed of my team, you know, to be so supportive of trying to analyzing these questions. So for me, it was kind of interesting because I always think one of the things that they told me is like, you don't need to compare to anybody, you know, because you add your own value. So if you then continue comparing to somebody that maybe, you know, they have a different expertise, they have different value, it doesn't add you anything. You know, you have to know what are you bringing to the table, and don't compare yourself. It's good to be different. You know, I have always been kind of different. When I started working at Telefonica, I remember that they do these tests of which type of person you are, you know, the A person and everything. It was so weird, but because I always end up being the E person, something like, you know, it's more emotional. Yeah, it was. So it was always like, and it was not bad, you know, because you always need to have some diversity. So yeah, don't compare yourself, you know, be confident in your value. I think that's another thing.
So just two or three things that kind of I've picked up on is certainly, so if you haven't read it, there's a great book called The Confidence Code out there. And that's certainly worth a read. And one of the facts that they state in there is that generally men overstate their capabilities by about 18 to 20%. So I think just recognizing that, and women will just tend to be like more, almost too honest. And in terms of tips, I think keeping a list of kind of successes that you've had throughout the year, so when those negative thoughts start to creep in, it's like just go back and look at that list and it's like, yeah, I can do this. And I think as time goes on and that list gets longer, I think your confidence will grow as well, and that's certainly something that I've used.
That's exactly what my mentor told me today. She's like, you know, just take those wins where you've gotten someone that's given you kudos and just put that in your back pocket and remind yourself of what you've done. I think that's huge. And I mean, everyone's different, and to build confidence, I think, takes time, right? It's like baby steps with anything, and then soon you'll have a nice pocket of confidence and bravery to be able to go become CEO if that's what you want to be, right?
Right. So final question. So as we look towards the year ahead, 2019, are there any particular personal goals that you've set yourself or challenges that you've set yourself that you'd like to share?
A panel. Brexit, that's the thing. No, so Links is actively looking for 2 board members, and we are looking for 2 women. Well, we're looking for women. So I think a goal that not only myself but my colleagues are to look for women in tech, strong women in tech, to be part of our board. I tried to steal Rebecca, but she got taken by France IX. I know. Yeah. So to involve more women within Links. We're a brilliant company. So if you know anybody or you'd like to speak to us, please. Myself and Megan and Kendra's there. We're around. We'd love to speak to you.
So, like goals for this year?
Yeah.
2019. Just to be more, this is more personal, probably in the workplace, just to be more, not aggressive, but bolder, and just stating when something's wrong is wrong, and not being afraid to, you know, oh, I'm going to lose my job if I do this or that, because that's likely not the case. I just think that in my head. So just to be more brave.
Dang, that was mine. Well, being brave is definitely a big one for me, but definitely being more confident, being a little more outspoken. I tend to be a little introverted and soft-spoken for sure, and I mean, being on the panel, obviously, working out pretty well, but I definitely want to put my voice out there a little bit more and, lead the meetings that I'm part of instead of just kind of adding in a little bit here and there. And just like be a little more confident that I can handle a room, I can handle a project, anything like that.
Well, one of my goals was also being on the panel, be more like part of the community. I work mostly Latin America, so I don't participate in NANOG that much, but be more like involved with LACNIC. They basically is a similar group for Latin America. They have a women's group too that sometimes I can get to go, so I will reserve the time to go there and support them. And also we are doing a lot of efforts in internet exchanges in the region, so I will try to be more involved and get to a board. So maybe I can raise my hand next time that I can participate in the NANOG thing. So I hopefully, be more involved and really try to get the time. Sometimes it's difficult to travel, and for me, being a mother of a young one, but I always try to manage my time better, to try to participate in all these events.
Great. Well, thank you all. Thank you to our panelists. One thing I just want to note that we are, as we've said earlier, we are a grassroots effort. We'd love to get more of you involved. If anybody else has a goal to be on a panel this year, we'll probably do ITW, Capacity Europe. I know a few folks are going down to Capacity LATAM. If anybody wants to take the reins and help organize an event, please let us know, whether it's a meetup in Seattle or the Bay Area, wherever. So please reach out to us. We'd love to have you involved, and thank you all once again. We're not shutting down. It's just a few folks had to leave at 7. But please stay, introduce yourself to others. And thank you all, and again, thank you, Netflix.